Hi there, this is Cara Rousseau. I'm the Duke University Social Media Manager. We're very excited to see you today on this Hangout as part of College Admissions Week, presented by the Princeton Review and powered by Google+. As I said, I'm the Social Media Manager for Duke University, and as part of my role, I work with the Undergraduate Admissions Department and manage our student bloggers, two of which are joining us on this Hangout, and work with our Facebook page and Twitter and all of our other fun social media accounts. So today we're hoping that we can give you a taste of what student life is really like at Duke. Joining me are Nadine Goldberg, who is a first-year student from Florida, and Connor Cotton, who is a junior student. So I'm going to just start off by asking our students to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit more about who they are and what they study and some of the opportunities that they are embracing as part of their Duke experience.
Sure. Hi guys, I'm Nadine Goldberg, and like Cara said, I'm from Florida, from Miami Beach. I'm a first year, and I was actually an early decision applicant, so it's been more than a year since I found out I was going to be at Duke. I'm not sure what I'm studying yet. I'm still exploring and really enjoying that, but I'm thinking about studying political science. And I'm involved with a few really different things on campus. I work with Duke University Union, which does programming for the school, so things like concerts, scavenger hunts, all sorts of big events, and also Duke student government. I'm also pretty involved in Jewish life on campus, so if you're interested in that, I'd love to talk about it. Yeah.
I'm Connor. Like Cara said, I'm a junior at Duke. I'm a civil and environmental engineering student, and right now I'm working on a project funded by the Gates Foundation that's working on sanitation in the developing world. I also am involved with the Duke Catholic Center. I also helped found the Duke Undergraduate Faith Council, which is responsible for organizing interfaith events around campus. And I'm also in a selective living group, which I can tell you about later if you're interested in.
So Nadine and Connor, can you both tell us just a little bit about what the application process was like for you? Perhaps you can tell us if you were early decision or regular decision, and maybe you could tell us why you decided to choose Duke as far as a school to apply to and also a school to get to.
Sure. I'll go ahead. Like I mentioned, I was an early decision applicant, so I had known for more than a year when I was applying that I wanted to be at Duke. And I think the biggest reason for that was that I was interested in a lot of different things in high school and a lot of different overlapping things. And my interests kept changing, so I really wanted to be somewhere where I would be able to shape my own education kind of and change it as my interests changed. And I talked to a few current students at Duke who had gone to my high school, and I heard about all of the different ways that they were kind of making their own education. So they were doing Program 2 majors, which is a major that you kind of create and design for yourself, and they were doing Duke Engage projects. And I just thought that Duke would be the best place for me to really keep exploring and have the opportunities to figure out what I wanted to do. So it was a pretty easy decision for me. Yeah.
For me, I was a regular decision. I applied to Duke because I had actually done a summer program here, and I just loved the campus, absolutely loved the campus. I really liked Durham as well. I thought it was a great city, and I really wanted to get to know it better. And I only applied to a few schools, but Duke was definitely going to be on that list. And when I got in, it came down between Duke and a couple other schools as well. And it didn't really seem like a choice at that point. It just seemed like Duke was it.
So Nadine, since you're a first-year student, can you talk a little bit about the first-year experience in Duke and what it's like? You know, we have East Campus, which is very specific to Duke, and it's the area where all first-year students live together. It might be interesting if you could explain what East Campus is and just give perspectives, a feel for how, I guess, student life in college is a little different than when you're in high school.
Sure. So, yeah, all first-year students live on East Campus, which is just a bus ride away from West Campus, which has most of the academic buildings and then also more of the housing for older students. So we're all randomly assigned to different dorms on East Campus, and I actually had requested a roommate who I had met when I was visiting here. And so I'm roomed with her now in Randolph, which is one of the dorms on East Campus. And we also all share our breakfasts and dinners together on East Campus, which is really nice. So we eat at the marketplace together, which is the freshman dining hall. And I've actually really loved having a freshman campus. I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, but now that I've had that experience, I really enjoy it. It's nice to be able to know when you sit down at a table at the dining hall that everyone around you is a first year who also is meeting new people, and it just makes the transition really easy. It's easy to sit down with a random stranger and say hello. So I've really liked that. And I really just in general have been enjoying kind of the new lifestyle that I have. It's really nice to be around students and people who are working on all sorts of exciting things all the time. That was definitely something I really enjoyed coming to college.
Great. And Connor, can you chime in and talk about what is it like being an upperclassman at Duke versus kind of back in your first year? I mean, how have things changed for you, and what is different in your day-to-day life and studies than it was the first year that you were at Duke?
Well, I would say right now I'm living on Central Campus, which is, it's still on campus, but it's all apartment style. So it's a lot more independent. I have my own kitchen. I have my own room. It's a bit farther off away from everything else, so it's a lot more secluded. But I would say that I kind of miss things like the marketplace where I have all of my meals with all of my friends all the time. At the same time, it is nice to sometimes have a little bit more privacy. I would say that Duke does a really great job. There's a requirement that students live on campus for 3 out of the 4 years that they're here, and I would say that that's something that when some people hear about it, they're not very happy about it, but I would say that it's a great thing. And something that makes our school pretty unique and makes our community a lot stronger, because it brings us all a lot closer together and really bonds us a lot closer than what I would say other schools have. So whenever I walk outside, any person that I see walking around my apartment building, or anybody that I see walking around campus at all, I automatically know is a student and that I have something in common with them, and I can strike up a conversation with them, and it's really great. I would say that as you move on from your freshman year, people tend to get a little bit more invested in their own interests. So when you first get to Duke, you're not exactly sure what you want to study. You have a lot of different interests. People all seem so fascinating because they're all from these different walks of life. And as you move on, you sort of develop your own interests. You work on your own projects, and people kind of become more specialized in what they're doing. And so sometimes it becomes more difficult to reach across those boundaries and reach outside your comfort zone. But I would also say that when you do, it's really, really interesting to get to know what is going on at Duke, because there's always something really fascinating going on whenever you do talk to somebody about what they're doing on campus.
Thanks, guys. Next, can you address what a typical first year semester looks like as far as the course load and the different courses that you would take? And Nadine, maybe you could start this one off since it's pretty recent history for you.
Sure. So I had 4 courses this semester, or 4.5 technically. I was in a freshman focus program, which is something really cool that Duke does, where there are a bunch of different ones to choose from. Mine was called Knowledge in the Service of Society. And there were 3 different courses and a group of students in, each student was in 2 out of the 3 courses. So they were really nice, small seminar-style classes with only 18 people each. So I was in one about leadership and civic engagement, and another one in the education department, actually, about education reform. So I was in those two classes, and then we would also come together every Wednesday night for a dinner with every student who was in that program and the professors. And that was the little half extra credit. So that was a really great experience. It gave me the opportunity to, even as a first year, get to develop some really strong relationships with professors, and also to have classes with professors who I might not otherwise have had access to until I was older. And I really enjoyed the classes and the experience as a whole. We, a lot of times, rather than just sitting down for dinner during those Wednesday night dinners, we would go out into Durham and do an activity related to what we had been talking about, or just meet a really interesting person in the community. So that was great. Besides Focus, I also did a Writing 101 class, which is another one of the things that all freshmen take. So mine, they're all in different specialized fields. So mine, I chose to take one about the science of food choice. And so we got to explore that topic and also learn a little bit about academic writing, which has really made the transition from high school level work to writing college papers a lot easier for me. So I really liked that.
Thanks, Nadine. And it looks like we have someone new joining our broadcast. There's Clive. Hi, Clive. Make sure that. Hey, Clive.
Oh, yeah,
okay. Hi. So, Clive, we're live on our Google Plus page for admissions, and thanks for joining us, everyone. Clive is a first-year student from Zimbabwe, and Clive, I'll just give you a minute to quickly introduce yourself, and it looks like we have a few questions in the queue that we'll get to next. So, Clive, can you just tell us quickly about yourself? Well, I can tell you about Clive. He's a first-year student from Zimbabwe, and he's part of a MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program that's in its first year here at Duke that has brought 5 African students to Duke, and it's been amazing, I think, just to communicate and learn from Clive what Duke in the United States is like in someone's eyes who actually had never been here before coming to college. So Clive has a very refreshing perspective on college. So we're going to go straight into a question from Mary Kennedy, and she wants to know, what is it like to be on campus during the Duke-UNC rivalry? Who wants to take this one?
I can take this one since I think I'm the only one who's been on campus during the tenting season and actually seen the so I tented my freshman year, and we have, so what tenting means is that in order to get into the Duke-UNC game when it's played at Duke, students will live in a tent outside the Cameron Stadium for up to 2 months. And we have a system for what that means. You don't have to live in the tent every single night. You have a tenting group, but you essentially live in the tent. It's a lot of fun. It's a great bonding experience. It is very, very cold, but it definitely makes you feel like a Duke student because it's a very unique experience. And then being in the Cameron Stadium during that game is a fantastic experience. I was painted head to toe in blue body paint. You know, they want to make sure that as many students as possible get in for that experience. So you're all facing sideways so that they can get as many people standing on the bleachers as possible. There's no way that you can sit down because there's just not enough room. You're jumping up and down pretty much the entire time. And for my year, it was my freshman year that I tented for that game. And it looked like we were actually going to lose for the first half. And then right at the end, we came back and ended up winning by a few points. And it was just an absolutely amazing experience. You know, we have a tradition where we end up burning. We have these benches on the quad that each living group, so a fraternity or a selected living group or a quad council will build. And there are these giant wooden benches that like 15 people can sit on. And whenever we beat UNC, we just throw them all in a giant pile in the middle of the quad, douse them in something extremely flammable and light them on fire, and then have a giant party and the basketball players will come and we'll cheer them like crazy. Basically, being on campus for the Duke-UNC rivalry, whenever the game is played, you can't not feel the school spirit. It's an amazing experience where you forget whether you're an engineer or you're in Trinity. You forget whether you're from the South or from the North. You forget everything else except that you are a Duke student, and it's fantastic to be here. That's pretty much all you can think about.
So I think that we have Clive all set up with his audio now. And Clive actually plays basketball. I think is it our club basketball team, Clive?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
You're great.
Yeah, I play club basketball, and I also practice with the women's basketball team. So yeah, basketball is really big, and yeah, I also play in intramural. And just how people support basketball here is really cool. It's like, when you get into Cameroon, like with all the excitement, and right now I know like there are a few people on campus, but people actually preparing to go to the game today versus Cornell. So it's just really big.
Cool. Well, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about global opportunities at Duke. I know that Connor has taken advantage of a program called Duke Engage. And Connor, would you like to take a few minutes to talk about Duke Engage and your experience here?
Sure. So Duke Engage is a program that Duke started with a donation from the Gates Foundation and a few other donors that gives students an opportunity to provide service pretty much anywhere around the world. So there are domestic service opportunities, international service opportunities, and those are all group service opportunities. So there's a faculty member who has a relationship with an organization, and you will go with a group of other Duke students and provide service to an organization that is serving a population somewhere, just anywhere in the world. And that could be somewhere as close as a neighborhood in Durham or somewhere as far away as China. And there's also a program that allows students to design their own service project, and that's something they call an independent project. And with that, you just need to find any faculty member who's willing to serve as your mentor and any service organization that's willing to accept you as a volunteer. And what they do is they provide you with enough money to pay for your plane ticket, to provide you with food and housing the entire time that you're there, and they'll provide you with all the medication that you need to stay safe and healthy while you're overseas. So I did an independent project in Togo, which is a country in West Africa, and I teamed up with another student, and we had a faculty mentor who is a professor of cultural anthropology and African American studies. His name's Dr. Charlie Pio, and we actually fundraised a lot of money. So Duke Engage was able to provide us with money for our housing, our travel, our medical expenses, but they weren't able to provide us with money for our project expenses. But Duke was able to help us get charitable status for that, and we were able to fundraise to get money to build a computer center powered by solar panels, which connects to the internet through a cell phone network, and provide a village that doesn't have any electricity, doesn't have any running water, but now it has a computer center that provides them with internet access so that children there who are brilliant kids and they know they want to change the world, they know that they want to provide for their community, they just don't necessarily know how to do that. They now have the power to access all the information that they need to make a difference in their lives. And thanks to Duke Engage, we were able to provide them with that. And pretty much any Duke student can do that whenever they want to. Every summer they have the opportunity to do that. And I don't know of any other program that is anywhere similar to that. And it's another fantastic opportunity that Duke has.
And so, Connor, you're hoping to return to Togo in the next year, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm actually leaving in 9 days to go back to Togo for 2 weeks, and that's to I'm building an antenna to get faster internet speeds in my garage right now. I'm actually going to go to the dump after I get off this Hangout to find the satellite dish. And then next summer, I'm going back to work on a different project, but it's with a Duke professor in the Civil and Environmental Engineering department who is working on a Gates Foundation project for re-engineering the toilet. And it's to take human waste, and instead of just flushing it away and hoping that we don't have to deal with it, it's taking the nutrients that are there and using it to a productive means. By composting it, we're able to create electricity and fertilizer, and selling that electricity and fertilizer to create economic opportunity in the village that we built the computer center in. And hopefully I'll be able to find fun. There's tons of opportunity. Outside Duke Engage, there's also tons of opportunity through the Duke Center for International Study, the Duke Center for Civic Engagement. There's grants through the Duke Global Health Initiative. There's tons of opportunity at Duke to study internationally, to go do service internationally. So even if I don't get funding through Duke Engage, there's a lot of other places I can go to get funding to go back and do more work.
Mm-hmm. Great, thanks. So we have a question about what is the difference between the Trinity College of Arts and Sciences and the Pratt School of Engineering? And it would be great if each of you could just speak quickly on how you knew you wanted to apply to Trinity versus Pratt. And Clive, since you haven't talked much, would you like to start on this one?
Yeah, I can start on this one. At first, I didn't know if I was going to apply to Trinity or Pratt because the education system is different when you're in Zimbabwe. Because in Zimbabwe, once you come out of high school, you either go straight into, like if you want to do medicine, you go straight into medical school. So I always wanted to be a doctor, I don't know, but I later changed, say, okay, let me do engineering. And when I looked online, and yeah, Pratt seemed to be a really, Duke seemed to have a really good
blog about how I actually applied to Trinity and then switched to Pratt. So if you want to learn more about how I made my decision, then you can go to blogs.admissions.duke.edu and read about that there.
Perfect. It looks like we have another question from James DeLorean. And his question is, Durham is startup companies. Do you as students have a chance to interact with them, and does the university offer support in starting your own company?
So I actually entered into the Duke Startup Challenge. There's a pitch competition in the fall, and then there's the full competition in the spring. So the Duke Startup Challenge is a competition where students can design their own startup company and pitch it to Duke professors and Duke alumni who are involved in the business world. And the grand prize is $50,000 abbreviated. You don't have to have your company as fleshed out or your business idea as fleshed out, but it's a $5,000 prize for whoever has the best elevator pitch, which is essentially a 2 to 5 minute speech on why your company would be the best idea. And I would say that Duke has a fantastic resources if you want to start up a company. I know that we have DU Hatch, which is actually offices that are available for use by students that want to have a startup company. We have the Startup Challenge, which is obviously a great opportunity for students to have seed money available if they have a great idea. And there are tons of professors who are available for mentoring and for advice if you ever want to talk to them about getting involved in starting your own company.
Great. Clive and Nadine, do you guys have anything to add?
I'm not too familiar now.
Yeah. Clive and Nadine are both first-year students, so they have a lot of opportunities ahead of them. So on the topic of Durham, how often do you delve into the city versus staying on campus? What sort of things do you like to do for fun around the community and the region?
Oh, go for it.
Okay, yeah, during the orientation week, that is the first time I get to go around Durham. So I actually I like exploring. So I just walked around the neighborhoods. There isn't much you see, but right now, I go to downtown Durham, and yeah, there's actually a lot. And I go there to have occasional dinners away from marketplace, dining area. So it's really cool. Like you get to see the different types of restaurants. One day you can go to a Chinese restaurant, the other day to a Mexican restaurant and Indian restaurant. So it's really nice. And yeah, with the weather, which is beautiful all year round. Yeah.
Thanks, Clive. Nadine, did you want to chime in on this one?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it's really nice when you're on East Campus, the freshman campus. It's so easy to get to everything. You can walk any direction almost and find a lot of really cool things. And there's all sorts of just exciting things to find. I was wandering around once after tutoring at a local school, and we found a little shack that sells all sorts of cool hamburgers and milkshakes, and there's just something everywhere.
Great. Well, we have about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to ask just a final question. I'd like to know in maybe 30 seconds or less, what is the thing that surprised you the most about Duke University? And Connor, do you want to take us off on this one?
Can't really think of one. I would say...
Oh, just 3 minutes. Oh, yeah, may I just have the lights on?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Connor.
I think I would say the thing that surprised me most about Duke is how welcoming everybody was and how excited everybody was to meet prospective students and to welcome freshmen on campus. I remember that when I came here for Blue Devil Days or when I came here for a tour, pretty much everybody that I saw that recognized me as someone who wasn't actually a student here yet wanted to make sure that I had the best experience that I possibly could and wanted to make sure that I chose Duke as the school that I went to. Because they were also happy that they had made the same decision.
Nice. Nadine, what about you?
Sure. I was a little worried coming into school about how I would be able to manage all the opportunities and academics and everything, and I was really surprised at how much support there was on campus. So whether you need help with writing, we have a writing studio. If you want advising from other students about what you should get involved in because there's so much to choose from, we have groups that do that. There's basically a support system for anything that you're interested in, and there's really no chance that you're going to be left to drown. So it's a really supportive community, and I love that.
And Clive, we're having some trouble hearing you again.
Now?
You're good. Go for it.
I knew that Duke University was an academically demanding school, so I thought getting on campus, I would just see everyone busy and like nerd stuff. Like I thought I would just see nerds around, but actually coming here, I was actually surprised people have lives and people do different things, and the diversity of the school is really nice, and you get to sit on the table in the dining hall. You'll be sitting like with people from all the continents. People like the cultural diversity is, yeah. I didn't expect that, and yeah.
Great. Well, thanks to Clive, Nadine, and Connor for joining us today, and thank you to participants for watching and joining us on this Hangout. For more information, you can go to admissions.duke.edu. And all three of our students are bloggers for admissions at blogs.admissions.duke.edu. And just a reminder that this was part of College Admissions Week exclusively on Google+. And for more information about just College Admissions Week in general, you can check out the Princeton Review's Google+ page or watch the hashtag and participate in the hashtag Admissions Week on Twitter. All of our students and myself will be watching that this week, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. So thanks again for joining, and hopefully we'll see you on campus one day soon.
Bye, everyone.